Yeah, sign in blood. Sign in blood.
Let's
Sign
get
in
to it.
blood. Let's get it.
Jimmy AK. Welcome to the Ethiopian Hip Hop Community's interview. We have the one and only Jimmy AK. Jimmy AK.
Yes, sir.
Uh,
We
so,
here. We here.
so who is Jimmy AK?
At this point, I would say Jimmy AK is an alien. Is no longer a human being. I think he's lacking all the ingredients that make a person a human. So, yeah, I'm an alien.
Okay, Jimmy the Alien.
Yes, sir.
Well, a lot of people wonder if you're Ethiopian or a foreigner. Can you please clarify this confusion?
I was born in South Sudan, so originally I'm from South Sudan, but at this point, I represent Ethiopia because I spent most of my life here and I started making music in Ethiopia, so I would say that I'm Ethiopian right now.
Okay, that's nice. We're glad that you're with us
Yeah,
and represent South Sudan.
at the same time, and Africa.
Thank you.
Well, I wanna say this again. I'm not Ethiopian or South Sudan. I'm African.
Oh, I thought you're African alien,
I'm African alien.
alien African. So tell us a little bit about your childhood.
Well, my childhood, I was born in South Sudan. You know, both of my parents are from South Sudan, and I spent most of my time when I was in South Sudan. I spent most of my time with my nephews because all my brothers were like bigger than me at that time, and they kind of left the country, at that time. So I had to spend more time with my nephews. That was my age at that time. So I just remember that we had to, leave our homes. This is one of the stories that I would like to share to the rest of the world. That at one point there was like a civil war, and there was like fighting between the Arab from the north and the South Sudan people, and I was a kid, and my soldiers came looking for stuff to take from homes, and I remember them beating my dad. And he was like an old guy, but they still beat him. They beat my mom. They beat me and the rest of my family members, and we had to leave that day because our house was burned down. All of it. So that's when we came to from rural area to a town because we have nowhere to live anymore. They burn our house down. So I remember that. That's one of the stories from my childhood that stand out is that I saw my mom getting beat and my dad getting beat and my whole family, and they took him to um, a police, not no to a base, like a military base, and he returned like 4 hours later. It's like brutally beat. So that's a rough childhood for me growing up in South Sudan, and I saw that as a kid. Yeah. So
That
that's
must have really had have like a traumatic kind of effect on you. Had it?
of course, as a kid, your dad is your hero,
Mm.
and your mom is also like an important figure in your life, and to see them being humiliated in front of you by other adults who think they have more power than they are, it's kind of like, yo, this is not really cool. This is unnecessary. So yeah, it traumatizes me to a degree, I would say.
So how did you discover hip hop, and how did you start making music?
I discovered hip hop when I was like probably 12 or 13 years old. I used to hang around these guys, my homeboys, back in Bentiu, back in Utah State, Bentiu. these guys were like the OGs in my neighborhood, and we was just like hanging out together. I was the little homie, so they would like they using me, and not in a bad way, but it's like, when they want something from the store, they when they want something from the store, they send me to get it. So these guys was really like, I would say, gangsters at that time when I was a kid, and they had CDs of Pac and Biggie. So every night they would like play Pac and Biggie, and that's when I first discovered hip hop, as a genre. And fast forward, I think for me to really start getting into the music, the genre, for me to decide to become a rapper, I think it was like early 2000, 10s, like probably 2013. I was in my house. I was in my crib. I was watching the TV, and there was a word show that was happening, and that was on TV. That was a word show that was on TV that I was really interested in, and all of us was just watching TV, chilling, and then Kendrick Lamar was on stage. He hopped on stage with the mic, and I saw the crowd just went crazy, like and then they waving their hands and all that, and then the guy was really cool. So I'm like, man, this is really cool. I would like to be like that. I want to be like that. That was the first thought that popped into my head when I saw Kendrick on stage, and that was like a lot of other artists that was on stage previously, like prior to Kendrick Lamar being on stage. So, but it was something about the way he came on stage, which is really good because Kendrick Lamar was inspired by Tupac to become a rapper. He saw Tupac shooting a video for California Love, and then from that moment he decided that he wanted to be a rapper. And for me to also follow the footstep, I think that gave me confidence because those are like great artists. Tupac, Kendrick Lamar, those are like some of the greatest artists that we have now and before. So this is when I decided to like get into the music. It's that moment that I saw on TV. I saw Kendrick Lamar, and so yeah.
Okay, cool. So inspirations of Kendrick Lamar, and that's how you got into the music. So
Yeah.
you got into the music from that inspiration, and then
Inspiration.
we understand that now you're in a community, a hip hop community.
Yeah.
What does the Ethiopian hip hop community mean, and what is the Ethiopian hip hop community, and how did you get involved or joined the community?
Ethiopian hip hop community is a collective, of people, like a group of people that have, I would say, vision
Mm-hmm.
for, to make hip hop better or to keep hip hop alive.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that's the goal that we have. So it's just a group of people that have the same goals, have the same vision, have the same dreams. They share the same dreams. And we have one purpose, is to keep hip hop alive in Ethiopia, and and to really pave the way for generations to come. So, what was the next question after that?
Next question is,
No, you said what is the Ethiopian hip hop community, or something else?
yeah, how did you join the community?
Well, this is gonna be a long answer though, because I want to give like a long detail on how. Yeah, so I joined the Ethiopian hip hop community through my best friend now, called Capital Israel, and I want to tell you guys how I met Capital Israel. That leads to me joining the community. Like when I started rapping, there was this homeboy that lived with me, and he knew Capital Israel from shows, and at that time he was in Kenya. So when he came back from Kenya, he found out that I got into the music. I was a rapper, and then he was like, "Oh man, that's cool. I'm gonna introduce you to like a rapper that I know. His name is Capital Israel." And I'm like, "Okay, cool, set it up." And then he I think he downloaded the videos of Capo Israel, J Matic and Nose, and he came back and he played me the videos. I'm like, man, this is really cool. You know, as a fan of hip hop, I think to really see something like that, because I didn't know a lot of people in the city to connect with when it comes to music. So for me to see and be like, yo, these guys actually live here, I was so excited. So he set up the meeting, and I met Capo Israel in Bole, and we had, I think at that time he had an iPad, and he was like, yo, freestyle. He played me a beat, and I freestyle, written freestyle, not off the top. And then he took my contact, and after that he called me for a summer festival that was like that took place in Bole, and then I went there. I met with Nose and J Matic, and after that I think Jay took my number, and then they called me to do shows like Saturday show, and I was doing that. I didn't have songs out at that time. I was just like I was on those practicing stage. I was practicing, so it was like a good opportunity to practice in front of people. So I was doing that, and then fast forward, I think maybe a year later or two, Capo Israel created a group on Facebook called Ethiopian Hip Hop Community, and I was the third person to be added to the community, and that was just an online thing at first, and I learned later that he created that group out of frustration because his homeboys was not showing up to the studio on time and all that stuff. So that was like a cool way to start something. Yeah. So, and then we did our first offline meeting, and I was there. So that's how I joined the community, through Capo Israel, and then we become cool ever since, because we rappers, we share a lot of things in common. So yeah, that's how I joined the community.
Wow, that's pretty detailed. We got an insight in your history, a real insight.
Yeah.
And then I guess we can kind of have an insight in your future or something, because that's some detailed info right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So recently we've seen you becoming a more notable member of the community. What is your involvement in the community, and what is your responsibility, if you have any?
Well, I have responsibility just like every member of the Ethiopian hip hop community. I help organize events, 6 headshots, actually, any headshots, and shows, like just hip hop shows. And sometimes I manage the studio, sometimes I don't, but sometimes I manage the studio. And I do a lot of running around. I don't think that's more responsible. That's just me playing my role as a member of the community, because we all know why this the community started. So if you have time that you want to contribute, that's I don't call it responsibility. I call it like I have to do it.
Like community service or something?
Yeah, it's a service. I have to provide service.
Okay, so you seem like one of the main players in the community. It seems like the way we've been seeing it, how we've seen you a lot on videos, and there's a lot of rappers we notice who mention your name when it's time to battle. When we see the battle, there's a lot of references to Jimmy AK, and so it seemed like you solidified your spot in the community as something. Word on the street was you're like the vice president of the community after Nose. Well, that's just a hearsay we heard here and there. What was going on with that?
Well, I think you have to. Sometimes if things are not, I think everybody can play that role of being the vice president if you have enough information on how to run the community. If you've been there from the beginning, you have like the full information to run the community. and to know and knowing who's who in the community. So you can call people if you have contact of the members, of the community, then you can play that role. I don't think a new member would know what to do when it comes to like running the community successfully, because the vision is what any member carries. So if you've been there from the beginning, then you know the vision. So if you step in and say, yo, I want to play this role, I want to be the vice president, I want to be the president, I think that you can do it if you have full information and the vision of what we're trying to accomplish.
Okay, cool, man. Information is king. So how do you define your music and art in general?
My music is, I would say, hope. Just giving hope to people. Based on where I'm from. I'm from Africa, so I think a lot of people lack hope. They don't have hope. They can't see. We've been traumatized by the struggle, and me coming from that background, I have to make sure that I give people hope through my music. This is the only medium that I can express myself and, and tell people that there are better days ahead. So my music is big on that and really just give you a confidence of tomorrow. It gives you confidence of tomorrow, and we don't know what tomorrow is gonna bring.
Yeah.
We can only hope. That's the best thing we have. We can only hope for a better tomorrow. So that's why my music is really just based on giving people hope and giving them the power to dream big and imagine and things like that. So I think my music is just based on hope.
That's good, man. We need hope. Without hope, that's the real disaster. When there's no hope. Yeah. So on that note right there, how do you see the state of hip hop and in music in general in Ethiopia? The state of hip hop in Ethiopia and music generally in Ethiopia.
I think hip hop is dying. It's dying like completely. Like I would say, there's a reason why I'm saying hip hop is dying. People, rappers popping up here and there. You know what I'm saying? I seen that, but these guys don't stick around long enough to, sustain the state of hip hop. I think the Ethiopian hip hop community is the only group. Like I would say that hip hop is like a patient in a hospital, right? So, and we're preventing it from dying. The Ethiopian hip hop community just gather around, giving power to the hip hop, to the state of hip hop in Ethiopia, just giving it more power to stay alive long enough until, a miracle happened so it can get better. But I wish that a lot of rappers in Ethiopia would really stick to hip hop and not switch their style on every song or album, because that's what's really killing it.
Too much compromising.
Too much compromising. People are, I think we really focus too much on people and what they want. So people are hungry for money, and they want the money right now. They don't think of 10 years from now. Do it for the kid that's not, walking right now. Do it for the young kid who might dream one day to become a rapper. So when he grow up and decide that he want to release a song, he will release it in a better state of hip hop where he could pop with hip hop and doesn't have to change his style to fit in with the people. So hip hop is continuously dying. I think I'm not gonna really be diplomat on this. This is my genre. I care about this. So I would say to all the rappers out there, you guys are killing hip hop. Stop stabbing hip hop, bro. Don't stab it.
So what do you think is the problem facing the Ethiopian music industry in Ethiopia and in getting international recognition, and how we solve it?
Fear. I think the challenge that we have is fear. we fear change. We don't want to change. We don't want to accept new things. We are good with what we have, and it's like that will never take us anywhere. Like
Fair.
there, Ethiopia is a big country. We have 100 over 100 million people. You know, of course, musicians are popping in here. They're millionaires in Ethiopia, but it's like they are not getting the international recognition because they don't want to try to get. They don't want. They dream of getting the international recognition, but they don't want to change to get the international recognition. They want to just do the same songs, the same content, the same like three way of writing songs, and then expect to be recognized internationally. That's not how it works. You gotta really change. We need to.
Does that mean they have to compromise?
Being a musician is sometimes you have to. I don't want to say compromise, but if you want to get international recognition, yes, you have to compromise because we're not really like who's gonna listen to a Mark song like a white dude probably one time, like 100 white dude, or just I don't want to say the word white and black. I want to say foreigners, right? Say 1 out of 100 foreigners listen to a Mark song. That's nothing. 50 out of 100. So we don't have that. I see recently on Facebook that Yare Nugu is on the Afro Festival that's taking place in Tanzania. And when I saw that, I'm like, okay, this is good, I guess, because we getting at least he was called to be part of a festival that was taking place, and that's including all African artists. So I'm proud to see that and see, okay, maybe right now we might be getting recognized a little bit just in Africa, So I think we fear change. We don't want to change. So that's one of the main reasons why we're not getting the international recognition that we deserve as musicians from Ethiopia. And like South African rappers and Nigerian artists are getting international recognition. You got Wizkid selling out O2 Arena in London, and you got Master C signed to Def Jam in the United States. He's on the same poster as Rihanna and Jay-Z and all that. And that's like really good. And there's possibility that we can get there. So if we just accept change, there's a possibility that change will bring. We just have to be open-minded and just accept that, and because I want to say that music is an international language. Music is an international language, so you don't have to really just focus on like one language. If you know like 3 languages, you can all throw it in a little bit.
Mm. So, who's your favorite artist in Ethiopia and abroad, and why?
I would say my favorite artist in Ethiopia would be Teddy Afro, and abroad would be Kanye West. There's a reason why I say Teddy Afro. When I see a musical genius, I relate to him because I feel like everything that I've done up to this point, like in a short period of time, it would just mean that I'm a musical genius. So to him, it's still being relevant up to this day, Teddy Afro. He's selling out so many records that nobody can compete with him. I look at him the same way I look at Michael Jackson, but Michael Jackson is more of a, so Teddy Afro is really like a musical icon in Africa, I would say. Not just Ethiopia, but in Africa. So, and for Kanye West, I think me and Kanye West are the same people. I'm the less famous version of Kanye West. I'm the Kanye West of Africa.
Okay. So that's okay. So because they're musical geniuses.
Yeah.
That's why you relate to them.
Yeah, and I'm a musical genius.
Well, well, they say a lot of your music. A lot of people say a lot of your music glorify a culture that is not Ethiopian. And what is your answer to that?
Well, it depends on how you define culture. You know, I think hip hop is a culture of its own. You don't need to mix hip hop with other cultures. I think that would be too, you know, you if you think hip hop is a traditional culture, you would be like, that would be like, you know, dismissing the idea of hip hop or what hip hop is, or the people that love hip hop. You know, I think we have to classify traditions and hip hop. Like hip hop is a mainstream thing right now. So, you know, and I'm not glorifying anything. I'm just speaking what I think, you know, what I think is, what I think is the best for me. So it's not glorifying anything. It's glorifying hip hop because hip hop is a culture. You know, so I don't see any reason that people would say, yo, I'm glorifying a culture that is not Ethiopian. Yeah, hip hop is not Ethiopian. Ethiopia has its own tradition, culture. I'm not trying to change that. I'm not trying to convince anybody to, you know, like get out of the culture and follow the culture that I'm putting out there, that I'm glorifying. That's not the case. Nobody can change the culture. Nobody can change you. They have to erase all like the memory that you've been accumulating since you was a kid for someone to say, yo, you changed me. I'm not changing anybody. I'm not glorifying anything. I think people who say stuff like that, they should just stay away from hip hop, and you know, because it's like they being attacked.
Yeah.
It's like I'm attacking your insecurity. It's like you being insecure. You're not confident with yourself enough to say, oh, you know what, I'm not a big fan of hip hop.
Okay.
Just don't listen to it. Yeah. So that's what I would have to say about, you know, glorifying. There's no glorifying anything. Just don't listen to the music if you don't like it. Ain't nobody forcing you, bro.
Simple.
Yeah.
Okay, on top of all of that, people notice on most of your songs that you exaggerate your personal status, and they say that they seen you as capping. They see that as capping in your hip hop. What do you say about that?
That's not capping. Ain't nobody capping. You know, I believe in the law of attraction. So, you know, I'm speaking these things to existence. So it's not cap.
Nice.
You know.
Well said.
Yeah.
It was yesterday we heard a song from Kanye West, your favorite artist.
Yeah.
And I heard him in the lyric. He's like dun 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 dun. I forgot the song, but it's one of his big hits. And he said, I got a passion for flashing. So what did he say? All I do is close my eyes and imagine. So I like that because it's like he's speaking on the law of attraction as well in the song.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Kanye, but I'm really a big fan of those lines.
Yeah.
That's really good. Recently, you got into an altercation with another notable East African rapper, which led to, you know, to the release of your diss song. Can you elaborate on that?
That situation was really, you know, like, I might be out of pocket on that a little bit, but I think, you know, I'm a rapper, you know, and that was the only way for me to reach out to that guy or let him know that, yo, I'm mad, was to make a diss record. But the situation escalated quickly. You know, that was an event that took place, and in that event, I got hurt. So I found out who, you know, I didn't even have the full information of what was happening until like a day later. And when I realized, I only got a piece of information. So because of my anger, because I was hurt, I just need like a little information to, you know, like a green light, like, okay, this is it, go now, make a song. So, you know, like, when somebody send you a hitman to you and the hitman miss and he didn't kill you, and then you find out who sent the hitman, you're not gonna be mad at the hitman. The hitman is get paid to do the job. So your enemy is the guy who sent the hitman.
Yeah.
So I'm mad at that guy.
Yeah.
So so I'm mad at the guy who sent the hitman.
Yeah.
So I found out who my enemy was. I just had to, express my feelings.
Okay. Well, and just a little opinion there. Personally, I don't think that you're out of pocket. You're a rapper. I think the situation that had happened outside of music is out of pocket. To to be violent against another rapper. I think keeping it on the wax would be more professional, and that's what you did as a rapper. And this is a history of hip hop, and this is where battle rap and all these things come from. And you express your anger, your frustration through your art.
Yeah.
That's just my personal opinion. But what's your view on violence and drug use?
I think those type of things I cannot control. I'm not, powerful enough to maybe stop people. Maybe the only thing I can do is just try to say, yo, don't do drugs on a song, or on a I can make a post about it and be like, look, drugs are bad, or this violence is bad, stop killing. I'm really against killing. That's one of the things that I'm really against. Killing is not really good. But people use drugs for different purposes. So I'm not them, so I'm not gonna speak on them. But killing is bad completely to like anybody in this world would say, yo, I'm against killing. So I think that's what I would say on that.
Violence is wrong.
Yeah.
You don't support it.
I don't support violence.
So what's your philosophy on life in general?
My philosophy on life in general, I would say everything happens for a reason. So there's no good and bad. It just depends on what side you're on.
Very nice, man. In the past 5 years, though, you have put out 3 projects, and we've heard that you've been working on multiple other projects. How did you make that possible with the limited resources you have? I was hungry I have a goal in mind. I want to accomplish my dream. And I feel like the only way I could make that happen is through hard work and through putting out music consistently. So that's what I did. It doesn't matter the amount of resources, that's in your mind. The resources are in your mind. You just have to think it. Like the moment you think it, and you'll find ways to do it. If you really want it bad, you'll find ways to make it happen. Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really, yes, I had limited resources, but my mind had a lot of resources.
Mm-hmm.
So it was easy for me to find opportunities to do it.
Law of attraction again.
Yeah, law of attraction again, yeah.
Okay, so that's great, man. So the mind is the resource, the
center of all resources.
That's great. I hope people are taking notes out there. Any plans for collaborating with other artists?
Yeah. I have like a couple of collaborations coming soon. I think it's time. I've been really selfish with the music. I've just been doing music alone because I don't understand how people work. Like sometimes your timing might not be right. They might take forever to write a verse. They might, write it in a short time, but then you're delaying them. And sometimes you might not like their style. So I've been really trying to stay away from collaboration for a long time because until I know the person, like you have to spend a year with me, like knowing me. We have to spend a year together in the studio for us to even get to, okay, let's do a song now. I think we are familiar with, each other's styles and how we rap and how we work. So, but now I think, I'm in a better position right now to do songs with other artists because now I have something to offer. It's not like before when, if I have somebody like 2 years ago, 3 years, if I ask somebody to do a song with me, they might be like, oh, I'm using them for clout or whatever. But right now I have clout. You know, I have the attention that I wanted, and now maybe if I call somebody like, yo, let's do a song, they might not hesitate to do a song with me because they know I have value. I bring something. You know, I bring audience.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think maybe now is the perfect time to do songs.
Perfect. So, who do you think is the best music producer in Ethiopia and why?
That would be, that's a good question. I would go with, I don't know a lot of producers because majority of the producers in Ethiopia are traditional producers.
Okay.
Like they produce traditional music, which I don't listen to. Sometimes I do in holidays, but in general I don't listen to those music. But I think now I would say Gildo Casa now. Gildo Casa is a good producer. I like the melodies that he's, you know, putting out there. And of course I have to mention some of my boys that are good producers in my eyes. You know, Calab the Sauce is one of the best producers that I know. Sami is also one of the best producers that I know. You know, his ears for music is really like dope. So yeah, those are like three producers that I really like their work and their style.
That's good. Nice. But no buts actually. What's your when is your next music release? When's your next release of anything? When are you gonna do something again? When can we expect to hear it?
I have a music video that I shot last month. We're working on that right now, editing. I start working on a project, which maybe I'm gonna change. I've been thinking about this project. I'm like, man, it's time to do an album. You feel me? So I'm working on that. I start working on the project, and I just been looking for good, inspiring beats that I could use. So maybe I'll turn it to an album, or maybe I'll drop an EP before, so I can continue to work on an album and then drop an album this year. So everything is gonna drop. Like I'm dropping 2 projects this year. I don't want to say the exact. I have a lot of projects in my mind, but I want to say 2 projects, 1 EP and 1 album, or maybe 1 mixtape and 1 EP. So this year I have a lot of great things coming up. I have a documentary. I have like videos coming soon. I have a lot of collaborations with like so many different artists. So everybody that support me knows that I give them the best music ever, like best me. You cannot compare my music to anybody's music. I think my music is stand out because I give you hope. I'm not just talking about a struggle. I tell you about a struggle, and then I tell you how to get out of the struggle. So it's good. I'm providing you a solution. So believe in yourself, and you know anything is possible, man. With God, anything is possible. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jimmy AK.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for your advice. Thank you for your time.
Yes,
and,
sir.
Thank you for everything.
Make sure you follow Ethiopian Hip Hop Community on Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? Stay tuned for more work from the Ethiopian Hip Hop Community and your boy, Jimmy AK, Big Jimbo.